don't live to work.
Sure.
So before I came to America, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do all the studying. I'm just gonna do all the achievement and stuff. I was doing all this stuff, but now I want to do like 50-50. But after I came to America by myself, there is no one who I can actually rely on. Like, yes, I did have my host family and friends who were like amazing people.
Sure.
But there were several moments, like many moments that, wow, I can't, like, this is nothing that a human being can do. Like literally I can't do this, you know?
You have to do everything in your power, right? Like, some things are out of your control, absolutely. But the things that are in your control, you can work on, right? So I think it's just knowing those two things are, like, you cannot wash all your problems away. I mean, like, okay, I'm not going to deal with it. God, you're there, deal with it. Not for me. Sorry, I'm walking away. Hey, Seoyeon, how's it going?
Hi, Prateek. This week has been a little quite busy week, but it has been a really good week. Yeah, how about you?
Been good. Just, busy. I mean, it's usually busy, I guess, for us as students.
Yeah.
Homework, events, X, Y, and Z.
Right.
I mean, more so for you than me right now, but... but yeah, no, it's been good. Nothing to complain about, really. So yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So before we get started, let the people know who you are, what you do, any of your personal likes and dislikes, anything you want to put out on the internet.
Yeah, I would just like to introduce myself. My name is Seoyeon Kim, and I'm from South Korea. I'm an international student who goes to UCO, University of Central Oklahoma. This is my third year living in America, so many things are still new to me, but I'm still getting used to it and stuff. If I can, I don't know, like some of my positions at UCO, I am the Miss UCO International 2023-24. I also do RA as my campus job. I'm in IS, International Student Council, which is like a exact member who takes care of people, international student on campus, and also help them and listen to them. And yeah, my major is biomedical sciences. This is my second year, so I'm a sophomore. And yeah, I think that's it.
Cool. How is it in terms of juggling all those responsibilities? Easy, hard, good days, bad days?
Yeah, to be honest, I can see that I have a lot on my plate, especially this semester. But I've been always wanting to get involved on campus and everything. So at the same time, I'm really grateful. But also, I'm trying to be very careful and conscious about managing my time and also balancing my life and work and stuff. Also, as you said, we're here as students first. So yeah, there's all the fun stuff. Yeah.
Gotcha. So you said you moved here 3 years back, correct?
Yeah.
What was the initial experience like moving to Oklahoma of all places?
Yeah, so I didn't come here as a college student first. I came here as a foreign exchange student first when I was in high school. And that was when I was like 16. So I was pretty young and I was by myself. I did live with my host family where I did like a homestay, but everything was so different. I had so many culture shock. I can't even count, like so many, like starting from like
talk about a few of them.
Starting since I lived with like family, American family, and also the area I lived, it's called Guthrie. It's like 30 minutes away from Edmond, Oklahoma, and there was no Korean at all. There was no Asian at all. So, and it was like pretty countryside of Oklahoma, so people didn't see anyone who's from out of their town. So like I was the very first foreigner for them. So they did not understand my English at first because my English was not good at all. I had like fake accent and people just like literally looked at like, wow, like who are you, you know? So if I think back, that was so like really, really great experience. Or so at the same time, I'll never experience it again, you know? I'll never. So at the same time, I'm really grateful that I came to America. I decided to come to America, you know? It was very tough because everything was so different. Like not only that, like food was different. The way people talk, people wear, and people like even hang out, it was so different. Like especially back in South Korea, people can drive until they turn like 20. and people don't even have cars, most of them, until like 25-ish, because transportation there is really good. So people don't really need cars, to be honest. But here, cars are necessary. So based on that, the way people hang out, like students hang out, it was so different. Like just go hang out, like drive through and get some food. It was so different. So which was so fun to me. So if I think back, it was just all fun memories, and yeah, I can't complain anything because it has been making me grow up and becoming a better person, to be honest. Yeah, because now I have two different cultures in me, Korea and America. Yeah.
Any interactions that you've sort of stored in your memory bank from the time that you moved here that was funny, or just I don't know, like any other
like
emotion?
Fun memory?
Like when you the first year that you were here.
Yeah, really good question. I would say, okay, so here's the thing. Back in South Korea, no, let's talk about America first. America, people say their first name. So people say their first name first and then last name after they say the first name, right?
Correct.
So first name goes first. That's why it's first name, right? I don't know how about in India, but in Korea, we say our last name first. So, for example, my name is Seoyeon Kim. Seoyeon is my first name, and last name is Kim. But back in South Korea, I say Kim Seoyeon. So, I didn't know. I mean, I kind of knew about it, but I guess I forgot. I don't know. If I think back, that's so funny because I knew about it, but I guess I was too nervous. So whenever I introduced myself at the very beginning of class, like first day of school, I told my name. Hi guys, my name is Kim Seoyeon. So later on, people started calling me Kim, not Seoyeon. So for the whole entire semester, people call me Kim. So, and I didn't know how to fix it because I didn't want to be rude. Like, oh, my name is not Kim, you know?
Right.
And my second semester, I joined choir. And my choir teacher, he asked my name because I had to like sign up for it. Sure. And I was like, what? Why do you put your last name first? So I was like, wait, that's actually my first name. Like, Seoyeon is actually my first name. So he was like, what? We have been calling you wrong. So that was kind of funny-ish situation. So my teacher had to like tell everyone her name is not Kim, it's Seoyeon. So and everyone was kind of like, what? Why you never told us for like a whole year, you know, whole semester. So that's like a funny story-ish. I don't know if that's funny, but
right. No, it is, because I guess it's that difference, right? Sometimes you don't remember that it's different in other places, and even for that matter, people here probably don't know that you guys put your last name first and your first name last. Yeah, because I've always seen that interchangeably with the soccer player, Song Hyun-min. Or Hyun-min Son. They always say it interchangeably, so I always sometimes not always, but I sometimes get confused which one's first and which one's last. So that's definitely something interesting in terms of the way you say your name. First name first, or first name last, last name first.
How about in India? Do you guys say
it? We say it like it is over here, so your first name first and your last name last. So yeah, it's not any different. Yeah, it's not any different. Do you know why that is? Like, why do they say your last name first and your first name last?
Actually, I have no clue. But I know all Asian countries like Japan and China, we do say our last name first and then our first name. I know it's like about like Asian culture, like where I grew up and where I'm from. You know, like Japan, Korea, China, all those countries, we say our last name first. Yeah. And we don't have our middle name.
Nobody has a middle name?
No, there is no middle name.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. I know you do. Right?
Yeah, well, okay. So I don't, but usually.
Oh, you don't?
Yeah, I don't have a middle name. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, none of my documents have a middle name, but my sister has. So usually, for us, at least the part of India that I'm from, they give your dad's name as your middle name. So that's basically your middle name. So my middle name should include my dad's name.
Oh, wow.
But it doesn't. It's just my first name and my last name.
Okay.
Even after you, so for example, even after someone gets married, you usually add your husband's name as his middle name, or you sometimes add both surnames at the end, or just your husband's surname. There are different dynamics in different places.
Yeah.
So yeah, but most people do have a middle name.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just one of those that
That's cool.
Because my dad also has a middle name, but I don't. Yeah, I don't.
That's very funny. That's
Yeah,
cool. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it's interesting how that works.
Yes.
But yeah, in terms of like moving to Korea, was it something, or moving to America from
Mhm.
Korea? Was it something that you always wanted to do, or was it something that sort of just happened out of
Yeah.
thin air?
I've been always coming to America since when I was young. I definitely had that American dream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But now, to be honest, from my perspective, like now, like right now, this is not my life. I think that American dream can be a little unhealthy. Like when I just got here, I was all about like, wow, how to make friends, like how to speak better English, how to do this, how to go to good college and stuff. But now, at a certain level, I am like now I have my job. Now I have that title. Now
Sure.
I have whatever I have, Now I know that how much it took for me to get here, and I know how much I had to like force myself and give myself like some pressure. I know that I definitely need some balance. So yes, I do still dream about American dream. Yes, American dream is like the reason why I'm here. But also at the same time, I try not to put it as my whole entire goal of my life. I don't know if that makes sense, but I try to like do healthy balance.
In the sense that, so you're saying while you want to be somewhere, you're not necessarily making it an obsession. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, obsession. Yeah, just because like so back in South Korea before I came to America, when I thought about America, it was like full of opportunity, just like having great career, which is, America does have like lots of opportunity for you. The door is always open.
Sure.
But I don't know, like it's kind of hard to explain, but now I'm at a certain point that where I kind of achieved something, as beginning, and now I see like if I like put too much effort and if I focus on all this like being successful too much, I know that that's not gonna uh, let me look at the other side, and the world, like living like life is not only being successful,
Sure.
like you don't work to live, no, you don't live to work.
Sure.
So before I came to America, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do all the studying, I'm just gonna do all the achievement and stuff. I was doing all this stuff, but now I want to do like 50-50. Does it even make sense? Yeah, I kind of want to do a little like light,
Right.
Yeah.
Like more so, I guess the better way, or at least the way I'm understanding it, you want to put in the effort and put in the work, but you don't want to worry about the outcome of your work in some sense. Or is that wrong?
Yes. I kind of want to be more like generous to myself. I kind of want to enjoy like living in America, because as you asked me about, like, this is something I've been always dreamed about,
Sure.
living in America. And now I'm actually like living the dream. But I see myself, oh, I need to do more. I compare myself to others. Oh, I'm not doing enough. And that mindset gives me, wait, so am I ever going to be perfect? No, you're not,
Right.
So I try to enjoy like each moment of like me living my dream life, because like whether I'm a student, whether I'm a worker, whatever I am right now, like just by living in America, I'm living my dream life.
Sure.
Yeah. So I don't know. I hope you understood well. I don't know.
I
I
think-
don't even know what I'm saying, to be
I
honest.
guess I'm gonna ask you another question. I guess that'll
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
add more perspective to it. Do you? So you say, like, in terms of worrying, you don't want to worry too much about. Like, you also want to be able to enjoy your time here in
Right.
America, because it's not been that long since you've gotten here, and comparatively speaking.
Right.
So while you do feel that way, is there a part of you that also worries about maybe not getting where you want to get? Is there like I'm just asking, like, is that a thought that you have sometimes?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, because so far, I haven't changed my major 3 times, and I don't know what I really want to do. Like right now, I'm doing biomedical science, trying to be a dentist, but not sure if that's something I really want to do. You know, and I just felt like, wow, I don't even really know what I'm doing right now is is going to really help my future career, and I'm putting this much stress to myself, I'm putting this much pressure to myself, and this is just not going to work, you know. And you're right. Like, I kind of have some type of fear that, oh, maybe I might change my career path again. Maybe what I'm trying to do, like dentist, is not what I'm gonna actually end up with doing.
Sure.
So I think I do have some type of fear like that. So I think I'm trying to like protect myself, you know, but like trying to be prepared. Like, oh, even if like being a dentist is not what I actually gonna be like end up being, I'm not gonna get disappointed. I'm gonna take it as good memories, good experience. So that's why I'm also at the same time trying to like not like not being too much pressure, not doing like trying to be too much like perfect, you know. Like that's why I'm trying to like enjoy, or so like take as like each moment, wow, like this is actually like helping me, you know, not just for my career but actually like for me to grow up, to live in this world.
Yeah, the reason I asked that is because I mean, like, I think about those things also personally, and I'm like, okay, if I do want to enjoy and like just be in the moment and accept those things, am I guess this is not, maybe this is the only way I can think of putting it right now, but am I losing focus in terms of where I want to get to? Yeah, it's just something I wonder about. I'm not saying that that's what's happening or that's what's happening to you either, but it's definitely something that I think helps like know where you're headed, or at least
That's good.
I guess know where to draw the line or where to draw the boundary when it comes to putting in effort versus worrying about the outcomes of your effort and so on. So it's just a thought that way. But I also do think on the flip side, though, it's hard to be in a position, well, at the age of 19 or 20 or 21, I feel like you're still figuring out the world.
Yeah, right.
You're still figuring out yourself.
Yes.
So it's much harder to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
Right.
I see myself being in this place till I'm 60,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna, you know, move on and retire and so on. So while again, the world is like, there are people in the world who are like that, who started off saying, I want to do this, they did it, and now they're in their 60s happy that they did that. But other people not so much. So I guess there's like the yin and yang, there's always the opposites of it all. But it's just interesting how, like, I guess everybody looks at it differently.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, yes, should you enjoy where you are? Absolutely.
Yes.
But should you let that stunt your growth? No. So I guess there's that.
I'm so glad that you brought that point, because I struggle with trying to be perfect, you know. I like my standards to myself is really high.
I know that. I agree.
You
no,
agree?
but I'm not. No, not you. Sorry. I mean, I meant to say.
No, you're
sorry,
fine.
I agree about that. About me being that way
you know
too.
what?
Sorry.
I see.
Sorry, my bad.
No, you're fine. I see. I'm going to be honest. I see myself like trying to be perfect and do great, and I also see you trying to do like great. You know?
Yeah, I'm very much a perfectionist.
Yes, I can tell. But we're kind of similar, and because of that, even if I think like half of what I'm thinking right now, it's gonna work. You know, we're gonna get there.
Right.
But I overthink and I overplan, and I'm not living this for by myself. You know, there are people who help me and who are being charged of doing all of this together. So if I like do too much, if I try to be too much perfect, it's not just harming you but others too.
Right.
So yes, and also like adding to that, as you said, like being like still like young, you know, we're still young, you are still young too, like I'm younger than you. So I also like want to leave that door open, to be honest. Like I try not to be like, oh, I already changed my major 3 times and I feel so bad because I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like all the time, to be honest, all the time. But I know that I shouldn't be like that, because I do want to leave the door open for myself, because I'm trying to still figure out what I really want to do, like as my career, because I have so many different things that I want to do. I have so much interest in so many different things, and so I try to leave that door open. And that's also one of the reasons why I don't want to think like too hard, like, because if I say like, oh, let's say, okay, I came to America and I want to do so great and so perfect, and I'm not gonna waste anything. I'm not gonna waste any money, any time, any energy, which I used to be like that way. I'll never change my major. You know, I'll just go stick with whatever I majored like in my very first semester. But eventually, I came back to where I majored at my very first semester of school. So basically, I'm literally doing the same thing that I did my very first semester. But I did change my major like my second semester and like middle time. And some people might say, oh, she wasted, you know, she wasted time, she wasted money. I used to think I wasted all the time and everything. So I used to be so frustrated. But if I think back, now I know that's not what I want. Now I know that, okay, I don't want this. Okay, now I don't have to think about this anymore. Now I don't have to be confused with this area of career anymore. So sometimes like kind of like being away from trying to be like on plan for everything, that helps you to grow too. Like this is something I learned after I came to America, because I never thought about this. I thought like following your plan and going like doing everything by your plan is like the best way ever, you know. I'm not saying I'm completely changed. Like still I I schedule my time like 10 minutes, like by 10 minutes every single day. And I do get frustrated if I don't check all the boxes that I put every morning, you know, because just the way how I am, you know, literally that's who I am. But I realized, I learned, sometimes you need to be like slow down. Sometimes you need to be kind of away from where you used to be, and then sometimes you need to try not to be perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. No, because I think the other thing is also like the way I guess the flip side of that is also, you might want to be perfect, or I might want to be perfect, but then we still live in this world where there's a lot of other things happening around us that could also possibly affect us.
Yeah.
So that could also break that rhythm of perfection, so to speak, right? Like for example, you mentioned that you slot your calendar out 10 minutes like to that amount of detail, but maybe you end up talking on the phone for a little longer.
Yeah.
Maybe you're walking to class and you bump into someone that you've
Which
never
happens
seen.
all the time.
Right, exactly. So right, like it is hard. It is hard to be disheartened. Well, it's easy to be disheartened by those things sometimes. I feel like when the way you want your time to go doesn't go the way you want it to go.
Yeah.
Did I say that properly? I don't know if I
You
made
did.
sense.
Yes, you
Okay.
did. Yeah.
So I think it's also realizing those things, right? Like at the end of the day, not everything, like you said, goes to plan because there's external stimuli as well, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
sometimes you can take the highway to get to Guthrie. Sometimes you can just take the
Right.
road that wherever that road is.
Yeah.
That's not the highway to get to Guthrie too. So there's both ways you can get to Guthrie. But I guess when it comes to a goal, for example, as long as you get there, right? Isn't that what you want at the end of the day? Like,
Yes, absolutely.
sure. Like, would it have been easier if you went straight there? Yeah, but maybe by you I'm saying generally, I'm not saying you specifically, but I guess by going zigzag, you've maybe picked up a lot of other things that help you when you're at that point when you reach a goal, right? So I think it's all those things also that help like add perspective to where you are in life and all those kind of things. Maybe this is too deep of a question, so navigate this however you want. You mentioned the fact that you changed your major multiple times. Do you worry that you did not give yourself enough time to maybe work that out? Or are you okay with the amount of time you gave it and you're just like, okay, fine, I got a taste of it for 2 months, didn't like it, moved on from it? Versus, and again, maybe this is just coming from a place internally, because sometimes I wonder if I give myself enough time before I'd be dismissive of something. So yeah, is that a thought that comes to you at all?
So that's a really good point. Like really, really good question, because I even talked about this with my mom yesterday. Yeah. So to be honest, what I think that I kind of wish that I'd done is before I came to college, since I went to high school in America first, I wish that I took about at least 5 month gap year or gap semester.
Sure.
Because I did my high school. In high school in America, I did my junior and senior year at the same time.
Okay.
So I did 2 years in 1 year.
Mm.
So I had to take like 13 extra classes just because I wanted to graduate early.
Right.
And because of that, I had only like 2 to 3 months after I graduated from college, from high school. And before I came to college, I only had that 2 to 3 month break, summer break. And then I did my best to figure out what major I really want to do, what I really want to do, and even I went to South Korea to see my family, and also I had to get a new visa to come to college. So that gave me like solid time for me to think about. But if I think back, I don't think that was enough time. I wish that I've kind of like at least figure out, do I want to do science or not? Because now at this point, like I'm even like trying to figure out, do I want to do this? Like even science, do I even like science? Because my major, I was biomedical science my first semester, and I changed my major to nursing because since we're like international student, I still think like getting job right after you graduate would be the like safest option.
It is the safest option still, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I'm scared. I don't know what I want to do. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do nursing.
Right.
And because that made me feel comfortable.
Right.
But it turns out that's not what I really want to do. I kind of knew it because I've never thought I'll be a nurse because I can really see blood. I can see blood. I can see surgeries. Yeah, I passed out. So I kind of knew about it, but I still made the decision. So which means I didn't give myself enough time. And that was like a week after I heard from somebody, wait, you should do nursing. So I did not. Yes, you're so right. I did not give myself enough time. And also I auditioned for musical theater and I got into vocal performance. So I changed my major to vocal performance about like 3 days. And then I turned my major back to biomedical science. So those whole like crazy like changes and everything, if I go back to the beginning, like after I graduated from high school, I think it would be different if I changed my major. I mean, if I took that gap year or semester, I have that half thoughts in half of my head, but at the same time, I don't think I would be able to figure out. I'll figure out even after I took that gap semester. Yeah, I know that I will not. Yeah, because even during this summer, I went back to South Korea just to figure out what I really want to do, and spend some time with my family. And I still decide, okay, biomedical science, and we're still like getting the title of like being Miss International, and like being an RA, like doing all this stuff. Would I be able to do this if I came to America like a year later or 2 years later? Who knows what's going to happen in my life if I took that gap year, So I can say I regret it. I kind of wish that I had more time to think about, but I don't regret it.
Yeah, no, that's completely a fair way to look at it, because you never know what's going to happen either way. But you're in the present right now, and you sort of have to navigate this present. Because us thinking about the past and if you would have taken the gap year, what would have happened, and all those sort of things are just, again, us sort of thinking about it, right? Like, we're not in that position. I guess it's just reflective to probably think about how you could apply it to your present life, maybe. But that's pretty much it, right? Like, you can't necessarily, I guess, overthink about that too much and like lose yourself in that. But you mentioned the fact that you overthink.
I do overthink so much.
Like,
that's the
talk
one
to me,
thing.
but like, talk to me about it. What about like how do you overthink, or what do you overthink about?
I overthink too much. That's the only one thing that I don't like about myself.
Okay.
Yeah, I can say I don't like it, but because that's part of me too. But I really don't like me overthinking too much because, for example, let's say like you and I had conversation about this, and later on, this podcast is literally the podcast you invited me as guest, as a speaker. So it's right for me to speak a lot. and talk a lot, right?
Yeah.
But later on tonight, before I go to bed, I will think about, wait, did I talk too much? What if like Prateek was thinking, like, wow, it was good and Sun was good speaker, but she talks a lot. What if he thinks that way? Probably I might think that, like those are little overthinking that I do. And we've been there, like relationship with, like, whether it's your friends, like your family, professor, whoever it is. After the conversation, if you don't feel like, oh, I did my best, like 100%, like during that conversation, I definitely overthink. Like later on, I shouldn't, I should like answer in a different way, doing this, doing that, and not it doesn't end there. It makes me think, oh, what if this happens? What if this happens later? And that's not healthy, because especially like at this point, like there are so many, like once you go out to like society, especially college, there are so many things that you need to actually like compete with each other.
Sure.
And that kind of makes you feel like, oh, what if I'm not good enough for this, and what if I'm not doing this well? Like the more opportunity you have, I feel like the more overthinking you do, to be honest. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I try not to overthink. Like seriously, I try not to. Like I do my best, but I can't stop.
Is there anything you do to like help cope with that overthinking? Like, do you journal? Do you like? Is there anything you do, or is it just
journal?
Okay.
I do journal.
How does that help, or does it help?
It does help, because I do Bible study and journal, so
Okay.
it does help me a lot. And I try to write down everything. And after I write down everything, I put a little arrow and I put down how this is like so impossible to happen. It's like even impossible to happen, so there's no worth for me to think about this. Yeah. And also, if it's like really, really bad, I even put, okay, let's say this happens, but I have this, I can do this, if this happened, I can do this, I can react in this way. So you see, I'm prepared, and I'm good. So that's what I do if it's like really, really bothering me. Yeah, but it never actually goes that stage. It always ends like, you need to stop, and
and
that's kind of where I stop.
Okay, that's good. At least you're able to tell yourself to stop. That's good. That's good. Because I mean, I struggle with overthinking a lot, and like you said, it does affect like your relationships with people.
Yeah.
Also, because you assume things that don't exist. Like it's possible to do that when you overthink a lot, is to assume things that don't exist, or think of things that maybe that other person didn't even think about.
I know, seriously.
Right? But you start worrying that they might think something about you because of something that you did.
Right.
But more likely they're not even thinking about that at all, right? And also, I think I heard this somewhere. I don't know where. I forget where I heard this, but there's something along the lines of, we are worried that other people might be thinking about us, but those other people are worried that you are thinking about them doing something wrong. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right?
That's kind of funny sentence. Yeah.
Because we're both basically worried about what we're thinking about each other.
Yeah.
But you're not thinking about what I did.
Right.
You're just thinking about what you possibly did in that conversation.
Right.
I mean, sure. Is it possible for you to think about something I did? Absolutely. I'm not saying that it's not. But what people generally revert to is thinking about themselves.
Exactly.
More than thinking about someone else or what someone did.
Yeah.
Like, but still, that doesn't necessarily say that you don't think about other people or something that they did. Like if you met someone who was really nice on the road, who was helpful, who was a good Samaritan, yeah, sure, you might think about them, talk about them to someone else, right? But that's the extent of it. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's just, that was an interesting thought to sort of see how, like, we do a lot of mental gymnastics sometimes.
Yeah.
To like figure things out, or maybe give ourselves a sense of, sometimes, and maybe not calm, but I guess I'm trying to find the right word. But I guess like thinking about those things like makes you sometimes feel like, okay, I've weighed all the scenarios and I've done everything. no, I'm fine. But usually, I guess, like, again, you're losing a lot of time by just
Exactly.
overthinking.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes just unnecessary. So
I literally agree. Yeah, it's really unnecessary. Yeah. And kind of I low key think this kind of came from my cultural experience too. Because here in America, people don't really care what others wear, like what others like thoughts. I mean, that doesn't mean like, oh, I don't. That doesn't mean like I matter, but you don't. That's not the way that I want to say. It's like, yeah, she is doing what she wants to do. Like, oh, he's doing what he wants to do. Like, and I respect that. So like people are more generous about like how others do. But back in South Korea, we kind of like starting from kind of like culture that we respect our elders a lot, and even like there are two different way to talk. Like, oh, if you're speaking to somebody who's older than you need to speak in this way, like formal way. If not, you can talk in like informal way. Like starting from that, people care about others a lot, like what they wear, like how they look. So like especially like many girls like in South Korea, they would not go out if they don't wear makeup and stuff. So like, but here in America, I barely see people like that. I do know some people like that, but like compared to Korea, it's like way less. So just the fact that like where I grew up and where I used to live, like they do care about people a lot. So that makes me think, oh, what if I did this to people, and what if they think I did this wrong? Probably that's one of the reasons why I overthink a lot, because like half of my, actually like 80% of my overthinking comes from relationship with others. Yeah. So I think that's another kind of like part the reason why I overthink a lot. Yeah. And the other 10%, about 10% is like me trying to be perfect.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't know where the other 10% is even came from.
Okay. You mentioned earlier, like, and you mentioned this back to back in a couple of sentences about being grateful, and that sort of made me want to ask you about that. Was that something that you naturally grew up with? Well, I guess not naturally grew up with, but what I mean is, was that like around your environment where everybody generally was grateful, and that's something that you picked up on?
Yeah.
Or was that something that you had to learn to do and you're still learning to do?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. That's an amazing question. You ask all the good questions.
Thank you. I try.
Yeah. I want to say, I don't think that's the environment where I actually grew up with, to be honest, if I'm being honest. My family is like wonderful. It's so great. And people around me back in South Korea, they're so great. But South Korea is definitely very competitive with lots of things. Like even like with school and things, like you need to compete for you to go to good school. So because of that, for me, when I was younger, I had more like competition, like competitive mindset, more than being grateful. But I think me being grateful came from the moment I think I started having more gratitude in my life after I came to America. Because if I think about all of my family's background and everything, this is almost impossible for me to come to America and live here and literally like going to college here and like making connections with them, with people, and doing all these amazing things. Like it's really hard to happen, but I am here, and that just like gave me wow, this is so amazing. And also I know how long I've been so wanting to come here, and I know how much um I know not many people are given this opportunity. So I think based on that, that gives me reasons to be grateful. And also I think most of them come from my religion too. Like being grateful, because I also know that like being grateful helps me too, like even mentally. Like if you always like trying to achieve something, which is great and which I actually do like literally all day long, but if you just like keep go without like seeing what everything has been happened and what all the great things you haven't done, like I don't have like that much confidence for me to like try new things. So I think like me being grateful is not just only gives me like joy in my life, but also it gives me confidence for me to do new things. So now it became being grateful is like necessary. It's essential for me to do something, to actually live every day. Yeah. But I forget about being grateful a lot though. Yeah.
So it is a practice, right?
Yeah,
Like
it
I
is
think
practice.
that's something that I've noticed like over the past few years as well in my own life. Like it has to become a practice.
Yeah.
And you get to a point where you genuinely feel it, and you do like most times it is
Right.
coming from a genuine place most
Mhm.
times, but there are those moments when you forget about the fact that you have to be very grateful for the things that you have, because not everybody has what you have, kind of thing,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So it's definitely a very important principle to live by for sure. So that's good that you have that
Yeah.
at this young age, because well, I don't want to sound judgmental of everybody our age or in our age group, but it's hard in our age group, or I don't know if we
Yeah,
classify as two
I'm with
different
you.
age
I
groups,
understand
but
what you're saying. Yes.
yeah, like I don't know if everybody is grateful, or
Yeah.
maybe people could be a little more
Right.
grateful
Yes.
about life. So
Yeah.
it's just, but yeah, that's just a thought.
Yeah.
But anyway, you mentioned how your religion helps you
Mhm.
and your faith helps you. How does it help you?
So I grew up as a Christian. It was not like I was born to be Christian. I started going to church when I was 2, but I did not realize why I actually want to go to church and read the Bible every day and follow God and trust God, who I trust, until I actually came to America. Yeah, coming to America has been like a turning point in my life. Because back in South Korea, I was a good student. I've always been a good student, good daughter, good friend. So I didn't see the point of me actually like relying on somebody. I mean, yes, I had my family and I had everyone who helped me. Everything was like kind of prepared. But after I came to America by myself, there was no one who I can actually rely on. Like, yes, I did have my host family and friends who were like amazing people.
Sure.
But there were several moments, like many moments, that wow, I can't this is nothing that a human being can do. Like literally, I can't do this. So that was a moment that I actually had to actually sit down and put my knees down and God, you take care of this. I don't know, because life sometimes throws you all the things that you don't even know how to control. And I realized, wow, I've been thinking that I had all the control of my life, but I don't think it is. Not anymore. Because as an example for me, remember I mentioned that I graduated from high school. I did my junior and senior at the same
together,
time.
right?
So what I did was I was in American high school for 2 semesters as a foreign exchange student.
Right.
And first semester it was just regular, And second semester I realized, oh, I'm gonna leave back to South Korea soon because my visa was almost over. 2 semesters.
Right.
Long.
Because was it a J1?
Yeah, it
visa
was
for 1
J1,
year?
which is exchange student.
Right.
And I was thinking, wow, do I want to? If I go back to South Korea right now, I need to go back and do my senior year in high school. And being a senior in high school in South Korea, wow, that's literally you have 5 hours sleep every day or 4, and study more than 15 hours a day every single day. And I was like, wow, I don't know if I can do it. I mean, I used to be able to do it, but now I know how people live in America, and I don't know. I don't even actually want to go back to South Korea because I want to go to college here. So I prayed, and how the heck can I think about me doing 2 years of high school in 1 year? That's not something that I can come out of my brain. I'm not wise that enough. I'm not smart that enough. No one would think so, but God really has put all the people and all the opportunity for me to actually decide, okay, I think this is what I'm going to do. So that's why I'm here. So even it goes back to your question, hey, do you wish you had more time to decide what major you want to do? I couldn't say I regret it, because I never regret. That is something I can regret because I don't have control. In my based on my religion and my faith, I say God is the one who has control of my life. So if I say I regret it, that means oh, I deny what he has been done for me. And if I see what he has done for me, it has been so good. And I can take it for granted. So that's why everything has happened to me, whether it's good or not. I never regret it, and I trust the one who provides everything. So he has been helping me so much. Not only being grateful in my life, but also like, we overthink. I overthink. I try to be perfect, and at the point where I'm like, wow, I really can't do anything, I literally say, God, you take care of it. I'm not gonna do anything from this moment. You take care of it. That's what I literally do, because I know that I'm trying to be perfect like too much, and that is like even unhealthy. So if I don't do it, like I don't even know where I'm gonna end up being, because I really have like, so when I came to America, I literally had that really, really high standard to myself and that American dream.
Right.
Yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yeah. I was gonna say, you mentioned the fact that you submit your problems to God, and basically like pray that take it from here.
Yes.
Is it usually at points where you feel like you've done everything you can?
Okay, what do you mean? Like
So, like, I guess the reason I'm saying that is because this is something that I've like sort of heard, and like even through like my practices of meditation, and I've been a part of like, I mean, I still am part of like this foundation back home that I visited when I went back home this summer, and that was something that they talked about too, in terms of like, submit your problems to God. But one of the connections there was, after you've done everything, like after you've done everything in your power and there's nothing else you can do, submit your problems to God. So I was just curious to know, like, is that how you see it too? Is that how you see it too, or like how does that work for you?
Oh, I love this question. Okay. You know what? So that's actually one of the things that I want to fix. So what I think I should be doing is not submitting my problem when I feel like, oh, I did my best and now there is nothing I can do. I'm not submitting all of my problem at that point after I tried everything. I want to submit all of, whether it's problem, whether it's like gratitude, whether it's just like my general life. I want to submit every single thing of my life to him before even I do something. Does it make sense? So like,
can you elaborate? I think I get what you're saying, but can you elaborate on that and why you feel that way?
Absolutely. It's not something, okay, I've done my best and now I don't think I can do anymore, so now I give you my problem. That's not what I want to do. What I want to do is, even before I feel like, or I realize, oh, this is not something I can do, even before that, I want to give everything to him. I want to submit everything in my life. And that doesn't necessarily mean my problems, like sometimes many people think, oh, I pray whenever I need something, I pray when I feel like I did something wrong. But I don't think that's something you should do, to be honest. I think because God want to be connected to you, so he wants you to share everything, like whether it's good or bad. So that's what I'm trying to focus on. Like, not only thing, let's say like, God, like today I struggle with my let's say like my classes today. So give me wisdom, help me through my course until the semester. Not only that, like actually like praying also what has been so good to me, all day today. So it's not, for me, like praying is not the tool to get help from him. It's actually connection. It's something that connects between me and him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see what you mean. I think what I was getting at was more so like, I 100% agree with you that we should pray every day, or if, I mean, again, for those of you who believe in God, but I'm not trying to impose any faith on anybody, but do as you wish. But no, I am also a religious person, and that's something that I definitely believe in, that you should pray every day, during good or bad. Be thankful, and like
yeah,
yeah, submit yourself to God in that sense. So I see what you're saying. I guess what I meant by asking that question was more so from a sense of taking responsibility of dealing with your problems.
Oh yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes,
Because
yes.
the other question that I was going to ask based on what you just said was, does that, I'm not saying you're not responsible
Right,
and
right,
you're
right.
not
Yeah.
taking responsibility, but like, is that then like, because you also don't want to get to a point where you're not
Right.
doing anything about it,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
You have to do something
For
about it.
real. Exactly.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
Good
right.
point.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of what I was trying to get at.
Okay.
Yeah. So like, how do you navigate that? Like personal
Yes.
responsibility versus being like, okay, like you do submit everything to God. Yeah,
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
I'm not against that. I think I
Yeah,
understand
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
completely. But where do you draw the line of responsibility versus, okay, I've done everything in my power
Okay. Yeah.
from
Good
here?
question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good question. I love this question. Yes. You're so right. Like you say, oh, I submit all of my problems to you and you take care of it. I said that, right? That is something I said. But that doesn't mean that you're doing nothing. Like
Right.
you have to put work, you know? If you don't
Okay.
put the work, and you don't put the work and you expect to have good grades, you expect to have
Right.
good friends,
That's a
good
good
family.
example. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's
That's not
really
how it
not.
works.
That's
Yeah.
actually being lazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also at the same time, that doesn't mean that you're being faithful. That means you're not being faithful. Because in the Bible, God says God makes the fisher. So it's an example in the Bible. So there was a fisher who was trying to get like lots of fish because literally that's his job. But on the day side, he couldn't get any fish. Like there was no fish. So he prayed, and there was reason for him to not. There was a reason God didn't make him to get all the fishes at the same time at the very beginning. But later on, God told the fisher, okay, like do all the bring your net and just look how much fishes you have. And we can see from that example, if that fisher didn't get the net out of the water, he would not see all the fishes. He would not get all the result and everything, you know. And that's exactly what you asked. Like, okay, you say you submit all the problems to God, but not doing anything. That's literally you being unfaithful. Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Because yeah, like the fisherman can't expect the fish to just jump up to him, right? He has to pull the net up and see the fishes that he has, and that's his catch, right? So no, I see what you mean, and I agree with that. Yeah, that's completely fair. Because at the end of the day, as regardless of how faithful one is and how much you believe in God,
Yeah.
like generally I do think that you also have to put in your effort, right? Like, and maybe again some of this comes from my own sense of perfectionism or wanting to do everything in my power and being a bit of a control freak. But yeah, like you have to do everything in your power, right? Like some things are out of your control, absolutely, but the things that are in your control you can work on, right? So I think it's just knowing those two things are like you cannot wash all your problems away and be like, okay, I'm not going to deal with it. God, you're there, deal with it. Not for me. Sorry, I'm walking away. Not going to work out. Like you have to still figure out your right.
Yeah. And so can I add on to that? Also, the reason why this is how I think in my religion. The reason why God still wants me to ask him for help, because he's the almighty God. He created everything, so he has all the power to do everything, you know. But the reason why he still let me to go through this is because he wants to see me actually seeking him, you know. Like yes, absolutely, he definitely has all the power to control everything, to fix the things like this. But he still wants me to go talk to him and sit down and pray, because he wants to be connected. And that's because he just loves his children so much. And that's the God who I trust. I believe in God who loves me so much and love his people so much. And his people means like wherever you're from, like if you trust the Lord, like you're his child. So me just like by making that connection with him and just like being able to say like he has taken care of everything. I do my best here, but whether it works or not, he is literally the one who takes care of everything. So I'm free. So I have that freedom. I get the freedom and joy. So I don't have to be anxious all the time. So that's like one of the best reason why I pray about it, because just because I want to remind myself, I'm living with freedom and joy, being free from all the anxiety and worries and everything. I should have actually, I should have if I follow the world, follow what other people say,
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack there also, but I do want to ask another question that came to mind first. And again, if you don't have an answer, it's okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Prateek.
I guess I'm trying to formulate the question properly in my head, but we talk about how, and I mean, I've like heard this in different sections of religion too, like, God is benevolent, God gives, all of that sort of stuff. And I mean, I'm not questioning God. Please don't take it that way. But why? Have you ever thought about why there's still so much negative in this world when there is a God?
Why there is so much what?
Negative in this world.
Oh, negativity.
When there is a God. Negativity, like
negative
as
views?
in like negatives in terms of, there's people who are hungry every night. There's people who live in places that are facing bombs every day. There's all of those negatives that exist in this world.
Oh, so why God still lets all those things happen?
Yeah, I'm just curious to know if you've thought about that at all. If not, it's fine, but it was just a thought that came to mind. So
yeah, you know what? I remember me asking the same question to my pastor like when I was younger. Yeah, so I'm literally with you, and I'm really grateful that you've been like asking all of these questions because it kind of challenges me too. So it has been so good. Yeah, so no worries at all.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad.
Yeah, I know I'm trying to remember what my pastor told me because that answer was like, oh, wow, that you're so right. Okay, I will say. So there are two things I want to say. First one is, part of question that I asked to my pastor, which is the same question as you did, was like people who lived in like many years ago before gospel was spread out to people, like they didn't know that God even exists, and they didn't even know like there is God who sent his only son Jesus to save their lives. So I was thinking that means since they didn't know about God, they didn't trust God. So does that mean they're not God's children? That's so unfair, That's what I used to think. And what I heard, and the answer I heard was, God shows his presence in many different ways. So in America, like I am so blessed enough to be able to actually have physical Bible, read it out loud, go to church every Sunday, and go to all the Bible study groups and everything, and freely say I'm a Christian. But even let's say like North Korea, like they're not allowed, like they're not allowed to even have a Bible. So I was like, that doesn't make sense. That's so unfair. And as I said, God shows his presence in so many different ways. Like let's say like people who lived in like really old times when they didn't know about God, God still showed his presence in so many different ways. Whether it's like really like bright sunshine, whether it's like really like beautiful nature, he has made human beings that, oh, I'm living this life and I don't know what it is, but there is something that should have created me. Like I don't know what it is. I don't know the name of it. Like they probably didn't know the name of Jesus because at the time they didn't know about gospel, everything. But God has showed his presence in so many different ways. So let's say like even people who are hungry and who are struggling with, there's so many different things. Actually, it's in the Bible. It's called Revelation. That at the end of the day, when Jesus is about to come back, all of these things are going to happen. Even like COVID, that's also one of the things that one of the signs that saying he's coming back soon. So it shows that God is real, and actually Jesus is coming back. So I say he created all of them to see, okay, I'm real and I'm coming back. And also people.
Could you elaborate on what you mean by coming back? I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. So in Christianity, we believe that God. Do you know like God, Jesus, and Holy Spirit?
Could you, for those of them who don't know, can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So Christianity, I feel kind of cool because I've never been someone who have talked all about this.
That's okay.
I feel privileged, to be able to talk about.
As long as you're comfortable talking about it, I'm okay about
absolutely.
it. Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I know there are many different religions that believe in just one God, or like actually believe in like 200 different gods. I know like Hindu is like one of the example.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but in Christianity we say there is God who is the Almighty Lord, who is the creator of this world, and his only child son Jesus. He has so many people at the very beginning, Adam and Eve, they have sinned. They ate this fruit that God has told them do not eat, but by them eating that fruit, they sinned, so they became separate. But God loved them so much. God loved his people, who's his children, so much, so he sent his only child Jesus. So Jesus lived as half human, half God. Wait, not half, 100% God, 100% human in this world, like for 30 what years. And he was present. So he died on the cross because Jesus loved his people so much, his children so much. So after he died, he rose again after 3 days. So now me saying he's coming back means he died and he rose again, and he is in the heaven, and now he's coming back to save all of us. That's what we say. And that's at least how I understood the Christianity and Bible. Yeah. So and also to answer your question, like people who struggle a lot in this world, and that's why God still he makes people like groups of many people like missionaries and groups of solid Christian like actually go help them, because if God didn't love everyone, if God didn't want everyone to be saved, gosh, he absolutely could just live like Americans, for example, like Americans like live whatever they want to do. Like, for example, South Korea, people have like so much food left. Like people even waste their food, and even like hour away from South Korea, North Korea, people are dying because they don't have food.
Right.
And just because of that, it's not he created because he wanted to show us, oh, it's unfair and life is unfair. He created this because he still wanted to show, I know you're struggling, but there are people who help you. And that's why we have so many missionaries and so many people who actually go physically help them. Whether it's like by prayer, or actually like whether it's like actually physically like going there, like flying hours and going there to share the gospel. Yeah. And actually this is really interesting, because yesterday I went to BCM, Baptist College Ministry event, and we talked about mission. And there is like it's called 1040 window. So if you see the earth, there's like a 10 and 40 angle.
Okay.
And those area is the area the area between them is where people live like never heard about Jesus before. So
okay.
So I think the question you ask is really valued and really important for all of us to know, because there are like many people who have never heard about the religion I believe, the God who I believe. So I think that was really, really, really good question. Yeah. And we did talk about like how we can be missionary in our daily lives too. Not only actually like physically going there, but also like serving on campus, like sharing all of this thing and actually like praying about them, praying for them, Yeah. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, you sort of.
Yeah, I know that my answer wasn't the best.
No, it's okay. It doesn't have to be the best.
Yeah, but
it's okay. Your answer doesn't have to be the best, right? It just has to be your answer, so it's okay.
Yeah, but Prateek, I really encourage you and others, whoever is listening to this, actually like find someone who can answer this question, because
Hmm.
I know that my answer doesn't have to be perfect and the best, but I want you to know the right concept.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
And I know that what I said was not the perfect one.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
There might be some wrong answers that I've said. Yeah. So I really want to encourage you, actually, like whoever it is, like probably even like just like searching on YouTube.
Right. Yeah. No, I just asked that based on our conversation because, it was just something that crossed my mind. But again, I'm not trying to sound inflammatory at all, and I'm saying this more so to the people who are watching this, because I'm not trying to question any religion or like be like one religion is better than the other or anything like that. But maybe I come from a worldview, because there's many different religions in the world, right? Like, I personally think it's okay if a part of the world doesn't know like a certain religion because they believe in their own God, right? Maybe, right? So that's just a thought. So, like, based on what you said, a part of me thinks, like, isn't it okay if they haven't heard about your God? What do you think about that? Again, I don't have a good answer. It's just a question.
It's okay. No worries. No worries. I hope my answer doesn't offend anyone. Yeah.
No offense to anybody.
Yeah,
we're just
no
having a
offense to
conversation.
anybody. Yeah, it's just
having
our
a conversation.
Yeah, our just conversation. No worries.
Just
no
two random
offense.
people on the planet. That's all.
Yes.
That's all. Yeah.
Thank you for making sure doing it. Okay, I say it's not okay because it's not okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I really think it's not okay because, to be honest, that's heartbreaking. First of all,
Okay.
because I know I've experienced so many times, and I witnessed how wonderful and how just joyful it is to live this world as a Christian.
Okay.
And we say gospel is the good news because it is literally the good news. And I want people who I love, whether I love them or not, I want the more people to know about this because this actually gives you freedom and joy. Okay. Yeah. Like, I'm not saying all of the other religion doesn't give you joy and freedom.
Right.
But I've been experienced how much it makes you be free from all the anxiety and everything you struggle with. I just want to share it, and I want many people to know about it because it's so good, just because it's a good news, Yeah, does it make sense?
Yeah, I see what you mean, and the fact that people should also know about it. I guess the different way that I see that also is that it's good to be aware of what exists in the world.
What exists in the world?
Right, like removing the aspect of like faith from it, but the fact that it is just another religion that I'm not devaluing any religion, but again, I'm just saying, like, it's a different perspective that exists out there that is good to be aware of, right? Like, just to know, because again, I think at the end of the day, and maybe that's just me trying to find like a different perspective of looking at that, of looking at what you said. Because, what am I trying to say? I guess what I'm trying to say is it's okay for me to believe what I believe. And it's okay for you to believe what you believe.
Absolutely.
No. I'm just generally saying this for like
absolutely.
But I guess what I'm trying to also sort of navigate in my mind, because I guess while you are while my questions are challenging you, maybe they're challenging my own thoughts too. That's probably why I'm like doing a lot of this, sort of gesticulating and thinking out loud. But it makes me wonder, right? Like, there are similar schools of thought that believe that, like, Islam should be talked about that way. Hinduism should be talked about that way. And I think it's probably good that people know those things, but is it fair for maybe me as a Hindu to go to someone and be like, Hinduism is the way of life. If you're not a Hindu, you're not doing life the right way.
That is so mean to say.
Exactly.
That is so mean to say.
Right. And I think while these are all like like, it all comes from a good place in most cases.
Right.
But there's also stories of where people have experienced conversion and being forced to believe a certain religion for financial gain or whatever it may be. Like, there's history, there's a lot of historical context also, right? So it's also those things also that sort of make you wonder, like, while it is a good thing, yes, to spread the word and to talk about the things that you believe in and how they help you, like, there's a fine line to be drawn there, right? Because it's okay for another person to live life the way they live,
Right.
and it doesn't necessarily make them any much better than you or lesser than you, right? So I guess it's just something that, while I believe in my faith a lot, it's for me to remember that it's okay for someone else to believe in something else too, right? Like, if everybody in this world believed in the same thing, wouldn't we all just be the same person, like the way we think?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. No, it's just
bringing all those good points.
It's just a thought, right? It's just a thought that I'm having, that I'm like sort of speaking out loud. But I think while it's a good thing that we share about the things that we believe in and talk about it through this medium or through any other medium, I think it's also important to draw a fine line to separate sharing your beliefs versus forcing your beliefs onto someone. Because I mean, again, like I said, there's a lot of historical context where things have happened to people where they've been forced to believe a certain religion, X, Y, and Z. Maybe that's to explore for a different day. But no, it's I guess it's interesting to notice that separation also of how people like spread their beliefs. Some people probably look at it as, here, I'm just sharing my story of my experience with you. Take it or leave it, right? Either way is fine by me. Maybe there's other people who are like, okay, I'm telling you this because you should do this too. This is the only way of life. So I guess that's what I'm getting at, is that there is that separation, and it's okay for that separation to exist. Because I think you sometimes hear this, I guess I sometimes have heard this from some people where they're like, oh, these people do people of this religion do but look at our religion doesn't do I think all those things are also unfair, right? Because regardless of what your religion might be, generally, foundationally, you might be a good person or a bad person, right? Your motivations might lead you to do good, your motivations might lead you to do bad. There's a lot of religious people in this world who are doing a lot of bad too.
I totally agree. Yes.
Yeah. So I think it's also realizing those things, that when people make these huge generalizations of, I know we're slightly going away from what you said, but I think it's kind of connected.
Yeah.
In that.
That's a good punch.
Yeah. So it's like we generally, as people, been like, generalize, oh, everybody from this religion is this way. No, they're not. Like, there's a lot of nice people who are of that religion. Sure, maybe there are parts of the world where maybe people are forced to believe a certain way. Like, for example, North Korea. Again, I'm not saying North Koreans are bad, but because they are closed off from the entire rest of the world, like, that's probably all they know. Right? All they know is what King Jong-un is feeding them. Right? And is it true? Like, I remember reading somewhere that, or not reading somewhere, but listening somewhere about how, like, they have their own religion where, like, they see the supreme leader as God. Yeah.
Really? I've never heard about it before.
Okay.
I know that like they're not supposed to have religion.
Okay.
Because they almost like idolize Kim Jong-un so much.
Right. Yeah.
But I've never heard they have their own religion.
I guess I mean the same thing that you said in terms of idealize. I guess I just used the wrong word. But no. Anyway, before we go into a different tangent altogether, I asked the same question to somebody I spoke to last week, and I'll ask you too. Do you think we're like, and I'm not meaning this specifically to Christianity, but to any religion, do you think we are living the religion purely as it was brought to us, or are we living an interpretation of it?
Like, are we living only like part of it?
Let me elaborate on that. I guess so. I'd heard this once on a podcast where someone said we learn, we read a book, right? We read a book, but the way we imagine the things that we read on the book and the way we see things, those are all informed by our own personal thoughts, personal experiences, and perspectives, right? So the way we might feel about something we read in a book is probably not going to be the same to what the person sitting right next to me does. Right. So what I take out of that book is going to probably be different from what he takes out of that book. So that being like, are we living the interpretation, or like our own interpretation of religion, or like, and again, I guess it's possible for two things to be true at the same time. Like, sure, some people might be living an interpretation of their religion. Some people might purely be living their religion, right? Both things are possible.
Yeah.
But what is your thought on that? Like, is that something that you've thought about, or is this like?
You know what? That is something I've never thought about, and that is so creative. But I do have answer for you. I want to say, remember I mentioned, yes, I started going to church since when I was like 2, but I didn't actually get to know about God until I came to America, which was like me being age like 16 or 17. And I think there are 3 actually in Christianity. This is how I view. There are like 3 stages of like you living in this world if associated with Christianity. First, people hear about this and just like, nah, it's not for me, like just do whatever they want to do, like whether that's like believing in other religion, like whatever they want to do, And second stage, okay, I think that's pretty good. I can understand what they're saying. I mean, yes, I think there is God, but I don't really give my life to him. I think that's the second stage 2. And I think there is stage 3, which is the last one, after they hear about this and actually, I surrender my life to God, and it's not like, to get the stage of 3, it's not something you can earn by doing something work. It's not something, I physically read my Bible every single day, or I physically go to church every Sunday, so I'm at stage 3. That doesn't mean that you're at there, because it's not something you can earn, because it's in the Bible. If you need to earn something, if you had to, let's say you had to earn your faith and go to heaven, then no one would go to heaven, because there are so many things that God told us do not do it, but there are literally so many things we do, we sin,
right.
And that's why we believe that God sent his only child Jesus to save us from our sin, But the difference between stage 2 and 3 is 2 was before I actually met God, before I came to America, and I got to go up to the stage 3 after I came to America. So and all people say, like, whether you're at stage 1, 2, 3, you all can say, oh, I'm a Christian, I believe in God. Even you're in stage 1, you can even say that. And there are so many people in this world, sometimes you need that, like so many in this world say, oh, I'm a Christian, I believe in God, but you're still not surrendering your life to God. But there is huge difference between those two
positions, so stages.
Yes. Yeah. So as you mentioned, yes, there are so many people who do all the bad things, and they all do all the bad things even though they are Christian. Why? Because they're not surrendering their life to God. So that's how I view. So I do agree with you. There are like, what was the word, interpreting?
The interpretation of religion.
Yes, yeah. I do think so, and I've been there. I have been there. I had so many times that I felt like my flesh is so big. So even if I know that what I'm doing is not right and not biblical and not what God wants me to do, I've done it because I did not surrender my life to God at that moment, But there is a verse, I think it's Romans 8:28. It's like, no one, like nothing can pay for your sin because your sin is so bad and so dirty, which is so true, because I sinned so many times, but Jesus paid for it, so now we get to have the eternal life. So people who surrender their life to Jesus, they're the one who believe in that and who live life forward. I'm looking forward um, living with God, after everything is over in heaven. But people who still struggle with their flesh and me trying to be perfect, that's something that I forget about. This My life is not eternal. Like, no, yeah, my life is not eternal, because I try to remind myself I'm not living in this world like forever free,
Right.
forever eternal, because I do believe that after I die, I go to heaven because I trust God. So that's how I think.
Yeah, and again, like at the end of the day, for those of you listening and watching, these are just our personal opinions, right? Like,
Yes, personal opinion.
do your own research.
Yes, do
live your own
research.
life.
Yes,
and also listen
yeah.
to us share our opinion, right? Like
Mhm.
that's just pretty much
Yes,
it. Like,
everything I say is not perfect. It's not the best thing you can hear. There are so many more people who you can ask a question if you have question about Christianity. Yes.
but I think at the end of the day, it's also good to talk about these things because one, it sort of helps you challenge your own opinions,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
I personally think that doing that helps you strengthen your own belief, if
I
anything.
agree. Yeah.
Like, because it makes you question things where there might be gaps that you might need to fill in.
Right.
And
Exactly.
it makes you want to seek those answers.
Yeah.
So
Good point.
yeah. So as long as it's doing those things for you, then great. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with talking about those things that way. So yeah. So again, we did not mean any offense to anybody.
No offense to anybody.
But yeah, those are just questions that we talked about.
Mm.
But yeah, like on a more lighter note, I guess transitioning into something else slightly. Going back to maybe the American dream thing that you talked about.
Yeah.
How far or how near do you feel to your American dream?
Like how much I have reached to my goal?
Right. Yeah. Like, are you close? Are you still? Is there still a long way to go? If there is a long way to go, are you hopeful about the road ahead? How do you feel about the road ahead?
Okay. Good question. Okay. I want to say I'm so far away, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, because to be honest, the thing is, I don't even know what my true goal is. Like, it's not being a dentist. Like, whatever job I have, it's not me staying in America or my probably like getting a citizenship or like getting a job or having a family. Those are not my goal. Those are like small goals for me to reach the biggest goal. And I think there are two different sides for me not knowing about what my actual goal is of like American dream. Is It's good because it makes you actually like keep going.
Right.
You are not going to stop even if you get the job you want to. You're not going to stop because you have bigger dreams. It's good in that way, but at the same time, you're not going to, if you seek that goal too much and if you try to like reach up there like too hard, you're not going to feel satisfied forever, because I did all of this work and I like this small achievement I made, but I'm still here. My goal is still too high and I'm still here, and I don't even know what my actual like goal is. So it can make you feel drained. Does it make sense? Yeah. So I want to say I'm still far away from my dream, but if I think about like my small achievements, I've been achieving my goals every single day. Like, even by just being like doing my best.
Right.
Those are things that help me to reach out the goals, whatever goal I have, and by that I can say I'm reaching out to my goal every single day. So it's like, yes, I'm pretty far away, but also at the same time, I'm so close.
You're taking one step at a time.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
So
you're getting closer to it, kind of thing.
yes. So I'm so far away, but at the same time, I'm so close. Yeah.
Cool. I think that's a good note to call this. Call it a day.
Yes.
Thank you so much
for
indulging in this conversation of
yes.
God and a lot of other things. Yeah, thank you. This is great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being open and talking about all those things as well.
Absolutely.
And for those of you listening and watching, thank you so much. We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course.